Hello, colleagues. How are you? My name is Dr. Rizen Masengo. I'm going to share with you about digital marketing strategy and planning. When we are talking about digital marketing strategy and planning, we are talking about the application of technology to connect with customers, the application of internet, the application of digital aspects in making sure that we are in a position to engage with our customers. We share their experience, we capture their customer perceptions using technology. Digital marketing strategy involving coming up with a strategy to engage stakeholders, to distribute information and facilitate customer service and promote community through technology. It's a shift from the traditional marketing, which we all know, due to the proliferation of technology. A lot of companies or a lot of marketers have been incorporating technology in their marketing activities. Some companies have decided to go purely online, and some companies have decided to use both the traditional brick and mortar, while at the same time they are complementing it with digital aspects, where we do have the use of websites, social media, and other related applications, with the main purpose to improve on customer experience and at the same time identify profitable opportunities and at the same time creating value. You need to understand that marketing is concerned with the identification, anticipation, and at the same time making sure that you satisfy the customer. And the company is also making a profit. So in my discussion, I'm going to use the SOSTAC model. To those who are quite aware of the SOSTAC model, it was propounded by P.R. Smith, and it looks into 5 different aspects which are critical in coming up with a digital marketing strategy, which is the situation, objectives, strategy, tactics, oblique action, and the control aspects. The SOSTAC model indicates that a marketer needs to come to carry out what is called situational analysis in order to come up with an effective marketing strategy. Situational analysis asks the question, where are we now? Which involves setting up what we call the goal performance using the 5S model, carrying out customer insights, carrying out SWOT analysis, and be in a position to understand brand perceptions. Once the situational analysis is done, a marketer needs to come up with the objectives, which are SMART. Once the objectives are set, the marketer now needs to go and design a strategy. What strategy are you going to use, and how are you going to get there? How are you going to segment, to target and position your brand to the intended customers? How are you going to create your own online value proposition? And how are you going to integrate the different aspects which are involved in an online platform. You are in a position to come up with the tools which you are going to use. Are you going to use the web? You come up with the different functionalities. Are you going to use the email? Are you going to use the social media? What strategy are you going to implement for you to be effective in an online setup? Then after that, you need to come up with the tactics. How exactly are you going to get there? What marketing mix are you going to use? You come up with details of the content strategy and the e-campaign initiative schedule. Then once you have the tactics, you need to establish the actions. Who does what and when? You come up with responsibilities and structures which you are going to use in order for you to be in a position to achieve the objective which you set in stage number 2. Then last but not least, you need to come up with a control function. How do we monitor our performance? Are you going to use the web analytics to monitor your KPIs? Are you going to carry out customer satisfying survey? Are you going to look at site visitor profiling? And what is the reporting process? So let me now explain the SOSTAC model in detail, starting with the situational analysis. You need to remember that we are talking about digital marketing strategy and planning. So when you are carrying out a situational analysis, you are trying to carry out an analysis or an overview of your product. You compare your product with that of the different competitors. You are trying to understand your market. You are trying to understand the customers and the competition which is prevailing in the environment or in the market in which you want to go and establish. So you are a sort of scanning the environment. You are carrying out customer analysis using the 5 W's. You are carrying out competitor analysis. You are trying to identify your competitors. Digital media analysis. You are looking at the paid media, the different end media, shared media, owned media, which is available for you to use in your strategy. You carry out your own digital competency within your organization. Do you have the digital competency to carry out a digital campaign or to carry out a digital strategy? You carry out your SWOT analysis. What are your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? Situational analysis also involves environmental and external environment and internal environment analysis. You analyze your macro environment. You look at the social, cultural, legal, economic, and political aspects which are detrimental in the implementation of your digital strategy. You understand the demographics, the green issues. You know that currently the issues to do with sustainability, green issues are pertinent in marketing. You understand the structure of your market, the suppliers, the customers, the trends in the market, the nature of competition which you may face. When you are now carrying out your internal environment analysis, you are looking at your 4 P's or the marketing P's. Maybe you may want to look at the 7 P's of marketing: the product, the design, the price, the promotion, the place, the processes involved, the physical evidence. If you are marketing services, you need to be in a position to understand all these different aspects, the profitability, the market share. How are you going to come up with the customer loyalty programs? Digital media analysis looks at these four different aspects which I've indicated earlier on. Paid media, any marketing tactics which you can use, which you can pay so that you use. Or are you going to utilize the end media organically created for your brands, maybe through the viral aspect of social media and other platforms? The reputation, the owned media, what your brand owns, most probably through the websites, shared media through the use of social media. You look at your internal strengths and weaknesses, the opportunities and threats which may exist within an organization. Then once you have done that, you need to establish your objectives, or you need to set your objectives. Incorporate the 5S model in your digital marketing framework. You want to sell. You examine the product element, the consumers, that the consumers are looking for to speak. Need now to assess the perception of the customers to innovation strategy of the company. How are you going to communicate with the intended customer? What internal aspects are you going to use to communicate with your intended customers? Save to determine how simple customized websites influence customer choice. How are you going to interact? You are looking at your aspect of engagement to seize your customers, to discover a line of products the company should venture into. How are you going to differentiate yourself from other competitors? Save to investigate how the company is prepared to challenge the strategic implementation. You need to come up with to determine the customer journey. How are the customers going to move through or to engage with your digital platforms? You can use the race model, which the reach. How are you going to reach the customers? What kind of media are you going to use to reach the customers? How are you going to interact the conversations, and how are you going to engage with the customers? How are you going to create your awareness, your interest in desire and action? You may apply some elements of the AIDA model. You need to understand the business mission, and you need to be specific. Remember, I indicated that your objective needs to be specific with numbers. Set up your business objectives. They are supposed to be measurable. They're supposed to be achievable. They're supposed to be reasonable. And you need to have timelines. It's supposed to be very practical and measurable. Objective, an example of an objective: increase our revenue by 21%, close 10 sales per week, generate 20 new apps per month, grow organic traffic by 30%. These are just some of the practical examples which you can set as part of your digital marketing strategy. Then you come up with the strategy and the tactics. Strategy involves how do you achieve the objectives. Tactics, the intricate details of the strategy. What is it? What is the way of doing it? You need to try to align your strategy with your objectives and your tactics, so that you are in a position to refer back to your strategies and your tactics, taking into consideration that your strategy is the long term and the tactics is the short term. What is the way of doing it so that you are in a position to achieve the said strategy. You need to know your audience, the importance of customer profiling. Using these different platforms like Google Analytics, you are in a position to use like Google Analytics to understand, to profile your different customers, to segment your market, to know how the customers are interacting with your website or any digital platform which you have, be it social media. You try by how are you going to segment, to position and target your customers. You come up with the customer journey mapping using the SMART objective to locate the position of your audience so that you come up with the right communication strategy to engage with your customers. You identify and select the right media channels which you are going to use in your organization. You come up with an action plan. Who is going to do what and when? What are the resources needed for you to be in a position to implement your strategy? You come up with the timelines. You set the responsibilities to different teams which you may have within an organization. Then, last but not least, the control function. Remember, we are talking about a digital marketing marketing strategy, meaning to say it's an online strategy which you want to implement. You carry out the tracking of likes, mentions, monitor, comment and the replies on your social media, on your website. You identify your conversation and the reads and the different clicks which may be occurring. And if you are new in the digital market strategy, I really encourage you to use Google Analytics platform to connect with your websites, to connect with your social media, so that you are in a position to effectively implement your strategy at a lower cost. Thank you very much for listening to my video. Hope to see you again in my next video in marketing strategy adoption. Thank you very much.